If reading the books doesn't stop your servitude, what does? If knowing where you come from doesn't change the relationship between you and white people, what does? And the answer to that question is power. We suffer what we suffer because we are not organizing and utilizing our power. The relationship between black people and white people is based on a power dynamic. Just like the relationship between a man and a woman is based on a power dynamic. The relationship between a parent and a child, a boss and an employee is a power dynamic. So if the information doesn't stop the slavery, and power does. And power is normally yielded through institutions. As long as African people own no institutions, you will always be a damn slave. I want to be clear, because some of us have gotten so comfortable with the culture that it's become another religion. Some of us have gotten so comfortable with the information that it's become another vehicle of escapism. See, there's nothing wrong with the culture. We need it. It's who we are. There's nothing wrong with the spirituality. We need it. Nothing wrong with the stones and the healing and all the things we do. We need it. But please don't mistake it for freedom. And what I see black people doing is, rather than overcoming white supremacy, we are succumbing to white supremacy by simply making it more comfortable to exist within it. Brothers and sisters, all we did is what the church did, and that is, don't transform your reality, just make it a little bit more bearable. I would argue to you right now that most of us as African people, and I'm speaking globally, most of us don't have a problem with white folk. We don't have a problem with white supremacy. We don't have a problem with white racism. No, we don't. Because when people really have a problem with how they're being treated, they do something about it. Which is why I argue we don't have a conscious community per se. We have a learned community. Because once one truly becomes conscious, behavior follows that awakening. So if you claim to be conscious and you ain't done shit to change your situation, you ain't as conscious as you think you are. But let me go a little bit further. When people come in for therapy, right? I'm a therapist. People come to therapy, they're conscious that they're an alcoholic. They're conscious they're on crack. They're conscious they're depressed. They're conscious they're anxious. They're conscious they have bipolar. They're conscious of their anxiety problems. But just knowing that you're sick don't mean a damn thing unless you're going to transform the sickness into health. Are y'all following me now? So when we say we are conscious, are we bragging about the fact we know we're sick, we know about the sickness, but we don't care enough about it to do something about it? Information does not change the unconscious program upon which we operate. I could put a laptop computer up here, put a flash drive in it with all negative information about African people. Take the negative flash drive out, put one with all positive information about African people. But the computer will continue to run the way it's been running Because the central processing unit will take the data, positive or negative, and use it as a weapon of destruction. You see the same thing amongst the learned community. Everything we learn, we use it to fight somebody else with it. Every ideology, every religious persuasion becomes cause for combat. That's no different than a gang on a corner. See, until you deactivate the Willie Lynch chip, which is in the subconscious, you don't change Negroes into free people. In fact, let me go a step further with you. When we talk about properly educating African children, I think we miss the central importance of education, which is not education. Schools do not primarily exist to educate. The primary purpose of education is socialization. Your son can't read, but he knows the Star Spangled Banner. Your daughter can't count, but she can name all the presidents of the United States of America. They don't know nothing about Obama, but they love him. Because the socialization is more powerful than the education. The education is the information, but socialization teaches the people how to think, how to act, and how to feel. You can teach black children all day long whatever you want, but until you socialize them, until you re-socialize our children, until you change the way black people spend, they can study ancient African civilization all day and still go to the Chinese store. I want to deal with it because this is our ancestors' year here. 2015 is 150 years. Our ancestors are saying, I know y'all can do better than this because we did better with less.